Good morning, y'all. It's Timidity. I haven't posted in a while. Let's see. Life's good. That's all you need to know. But I'm gonna share like I always do, just because I feel like it. I'm sitting here on my bed full of clothing, just thinking about the past few days, about everything. I remember last December when I broke up with my ex and also had a near restraining order moment with my ex fuck buddy. I remember thinking, I'm leaving both of these dudes behind in 2020. They aren't gonna make any sort of reappearing appearances, and at best, it's just gonna be my ex being a fan. But I ain't gonna be crying over no niggas, stressed over no niggas, nothing. It's March, the middle of March. Guess what I'm going to talk about? I'll put it this way. They kept coming back, and I kept letting them. Or I'd beg them to come back, or then when I finally wisened up enough to leave, they'd beg me to come back. The healthier of the two is my ex, which is quite. It makes sense. Yeah, I don't know if I've already used this analogy, but my ex boyfriend, when me and him broke up, that felt like the equivalent of like touching a hot stove and being like, ah, shit, that hurt. Fuck. And like, it sticks with you. And you can't fully get rid of it. And then my fuck buddy Morgan, he was the equivalent of like someone healing or helping me distract from the pain by going, oh wait, I got just the solution. They grab a hot skillet off of another eye on the stove, smack you in the face with it, hard as fuck, crack you on the side of the head. They leave you bleeding, skull broken, huge burn mark across your face. And that's kind of like how he distracted me. I wouldn't say in a healthier way. It did help though. Like, when I broke up with my ex, I remember just being like, okay, so I have two options. I can be at home crying, dirty as fuck, rotting in bed, starving myself, and potentially put myself at risk. I don't think I was gonna revert to I might have done a little alcoholism. I forget back then. I don't know. I forget. That's the thing. My memory is kind of fucked. Or my brain was like, you have two options. You can suffer in bed and probably continue your cycle of just suffering and being alone and not doing anything while alone. Or you can hit up that one toxic fuck buddy who had been begging to see you for like how fucking long and just tell him, hey, now's your chance, buddy. And he showed up. He got me Chinese food and gave me incredibly good oral sex, and we fucked, and I cried, and I had to be taken home because it turns out I can't. The pandemic showed me that sadly. Before the pandemic, it was very easy to have a rebound. You didn't have to think much into it. It was just as simple as, oh, this guy's hot, and I'm single. Alright, if it gets me to stop thinking about whatever the fuck happened with the last nigga who hurt me, I will fuck this guy. And then I fuck that guy, and I either get into a better scenario or a worse scenario. Only time will fucking tell. And then you just set yourself up. I just put on my heater, by the way, in case you hear a sound. And then once the pandemic happened, I remember specifically, it was directly as I was trying to get over one of the most traumatic relationships I've had, where I was becoming a very bad version of myself that I never ever want to become again. But sadly, have brought it back to a couple times. My mental health is we're working on it, but I'm a good person at heart. I just want to make sure it's in the physical world, also showing with my actions that I am no longer a dangerous, awful person. Yay. But yeah, I was trying to get over some ex during the pandemic, and that was hard as fuck, because it's like, okay, so I can't do the rebound method, or just like anything healthy. The healthiest method would have been, I'm gonna find the hottest motherfucker, and I'm gonna fuck however many of them I can, until I eventually just forget who's a what's its name. And then what happened was, instead of me being able to get over him, or at least temporarily forget him, and move on to someone else within like, a week, a month, anything like that. No, it took fucking years to get over that guy. It did. And it hurt like hell. It hurt like hell. So I should have known better when I actually did have and also then afterwards, when I did eventually get over that ex, I tried the rebound thing a couple more times, and it was still very hit or miss. It's like sometimes you don't need dick, you don't need cock, you don't need yet another emotionally unavailable or complex man to make your life worse. Sometimes you just need to be alone. But I can just tell that night I really did not want to be alone. Fast forward to today, December, when I broke up with my most recent lovely ex-boyfriend. That's why I fucked Morgan. And I kept fucking him. And then shit hit the fan, because why wouldn't it? We were just never I don't think it's in the cards for us to be a healthy bond. I don't think so. He wants to work on that. But, in the same way that he's been wanting to work on that for the past however many months, and we see how that's been going. Because instead of following my New Year's resolution of not crying over niggas, guess who has like a once a week mental breakdown? Followed by more promises. Followed by good sex. Followed by another breakdown. And I'm finally getting to like the absolute reason why this is happening. And before you say, oh, to me it's because of your fucking parental issues, your mommy issues, and your daddy issues, and your abandonment issues, and commitment issues, and shut the fuck up. Let me talk. You ain't gonna tell me some shit I already fucking know, bitch. We had that conversation years ago. I was gonna say, they're kind of like polar opposites, but still inherently the same guy. Like, I'll put it this way. My ex is a lovely person, very much cared for by me, cherished and appreciated. They helped me out so much, unbelievably, during any time last year, including this year. They were an amazing person that I was very happy to meet. But at the same time, I knew deep down they were not what I wanted. I was at their house thinking of fucking slitting my wrist or killing their brother. I don't care how unhinged that sounds. I don't. I was thinking that all the time. Clearly, since their brother is alive and I am alive, and at no point did I go into their kitchen and slit my wrists open, or attack anybody, or jump off their patio balcony, or fly off the handle and curse everybody in the house out, which I still want to do, but I haven't because I care about my ex a lot. Clearly, I showed a lot of restraint. I did. But, and I'm going to get into the reasons behind that. Anytime I saw my ex, things were predictable. They were predictable. I still very much cared for them, but, it'd be like, okay, show up to their house Wednesday evening, and then what? I relax next to them as they play video games to unwind from work, and maybe we do, play a little video games together. Cool, that's cool. But then it gets to the next part. Come Thursday, I would always ask my ex to go to bed a little bit early, or at least not at 4 or 5 a.m. He says, sure. The very next morning, nope. He doesn't get up all day. And then who am I left with? His very fucking condescending, snarky, shitty, cunt older brother in his living room. And who won't talk to me. And whenever he does, it's extremely hit or miss. We could either have a pleasant conversation that lasts for hours and hours and hours as if we were besties, or they could just snarl at me and treat me like I'm fucking stupid. And that was their whole thing. That's the entire reason I have never liked them. And anytime I have, they quickly showed me exactly why I couldn't like them. They're just like their mother in the sense of being a non-communicative, toxic, just overall the type of person you would see walking down the street and cross the street over. You'd be like, ooh, I don't want to get involved with you types of person, Sorry, I'm getting a little off track. Let's just put it this way. Let me think. I like my ex because he's a safe and lovely man. And I don't say safe as in like a fallback option, or at least I'm trying not to. I mean safe as in he makes me feel safe. He's the type of guy where he can come over to my apartment and I can... Or at least in the past, I felt like I could talk to him about everything. He's the type of guy who just knows me inside and out. We dated for an entire year. And of course, in that... Knowing how I love to talk, he practically knows me inside and out. But I don't feel like he's fully ever seen me, either. Which is also the reason why I liked Morgan. Because despite Morgan and me, trust me, we don't know that much about each other's lives. At best, I don't know. I know some members of his family's names, and I know about his comic book and coin collection, and that he has sex addiction and stuff. But I don't know, I feel like despite us not knowing each other, we still have a very strong connection. Probably because we have all the same shit wrong with each other. And unlike my ex, who can watch me go through a psychotic episode, or have a mental breakdown or this or that. Or I guess psychotic episode, by that I mean more that time I had edibles, that was more extreme psychosis and hallucinations. Yeah, I'm very sensitive to stimulants. I don't like that type of shit. Fuck drugs. I'm getting off track again, I'm sorry. I guess, how do I explain this? Well, I don't want to worry too much about video length because we're already at the 10-minute mark. Anyone who's stuck around is either really interested in this topic or just has clicked away. Okay, let me think. My ex-boyfriend was lovely. He was the type of guy I looked forward to, but at the same time we were a codependent bond in a very bad way. In the sense of, okay, he doesn't have any life goals. He was never the type of guy I could talk about having like a future with, like marriage or kids. He was never that type. Like, I'm pretty sure even if we were still dating, at some point we'd get to the point where I'd be like, okay, I'm ready for like discussions around like a future, like, like possibly buying an apartment together, or like, I don't know, what we would do for our future kids. And then he'd have the mindset of, oh boy, I can't wait for like another console to come out, or the new video game sequel to this fucking epic game, or remaster of GTA. Like, we were just at entirely different life paths. Like, I wanted someone who has like a future and drive, but also, at worst, if they couldn't have that, an interesting personality. I'm not trying to shit on my ex when I say this. I'm not. I care about them so fucking much. Scaredly. I'm just saying that whenever we have conversations, I already know what they're gonna say. And I kind of get pissed off a little bit whenever I try to talk to them because I already know what answers I'm going to receive. It makes every conversation seem pointless. It makes the bond seem non-existent. I don't like having that type of bond with people. Something about that, I already know the format like, I could say something interesting, something unique. I could talk about a topic never brought up before. And I just know that they're going to just say, okay, positive one-liner, followed by a question that is very obvious considering what I just said. And that's going to be the extent of it. If someone were to ask me at any time, hey, what's your ex-boyfriend doing? I already know what I'd say. I'd say they're either at work or they're playing video games. One of two things. And then maybe the occasional third or fourth thing would be watching YouTube or scrolling Reddit. And that's it. I don't want to date, I can't date the type of person where it's like that's all they do. I don't. And I know that's hypocritical considering like what I do. I just talk shit on the internet. Or I sometimes talk about good things, like I don't know. I feel like I just have a lot more things that I actually want to work on about myself. Like, I like deep diving and being introspective and learning about why I am the way I am, and like what future life I want to have for myself, and all the good things that I have in store for me. And like, I don't know, fashion and skincare and makeup and filmmaking and screenwriting and knitting and sewing and interior decor and fun sex positions. And I have a lot that I want to do, and it seems like they are just content not doing any of that. They are completely content with the way their life is, and I cannot be. Also, aside from that, it's one thing if it's conversations also boring, but it's also like, he wasn't taking care of himself as we dated. So it's like, here I am putting in so much effort to look like a fucking Stepford wife or whatever. With the jewelry and the dresses and the little hairstyles and the lip gloss and the skincare. And the full body exfoliation that takes hours to just show up after a fucking 1.5 hour bus ride. Just several days of being with a guy who can't even brush his fucking teeth and acts like an asshole when I recoil from a kiss because I don't want to kiss someone whose breath tastes that fucking bad. And then he'll have the nerve to say that he doesn't want to go on a date. I remember specifically I offered a date that was entirely free. All he'd have to do is use money that was already on his Clipper card. $5 total. We could have went to a free movie screening. He said no. He made up excuse after excuse after excuse. We could have gone to a comedy show. At best, like 15 drinks, and I would have paid for my own drinks too. $15 for like drinks. Probably even less. Because it turns out when we showed up to the bar, they didn't even have a 2-drink minimum. He said no. And he just kept saying no and no and no. And it was like, why am I with this guy when there are other guys out there who would be dying to see me? Who would literally, if I asked them to slit their wrists on the spot, they'd fucking do it. And I just thought, I want someone who's crazier for me. or at least can show me that they really, really are devoted to actually being interesting, being sexy, and impressing me. And I think Morgan knew that. He does. Morgan's not inherently a bad. Oh, okay. He's a shitty person. Cheated on every single fucking woman he's ever been with. Manipulative. Attempts gaslighting, but it never fucking works because I'm smarter than him. And I hate to say that, I don't mean it to be mean, but even he knows that. And he likes me for that reason. I don't know. I'll just say he fascinates me, and that's why I'm with him. I find him sexually appealing. I like his teeth. I find his eyes incredibly fascinating to stare into. His skin, his jawline, his luscious fucking hair. I love his broad shoulders and his muscles and the way he fucks, the way he puts my legs back in very specific ways. I just really, really fucking like that. But at the same time, do I even like him? No, not inherently. I wouldn't be shocked if I am borderline. Because they say there's this thing where your brain can just assign a person who's a favorite person. And that no matter what the person does, you will still always want to be around them. I suspect that he has bipolar disorder or borderline too. Because for the same fucking reason, he's stuck around me. He's an attractive guy. He has charisma. He has flair. He has all that shit. But he also has very low self-esteem. And I could tell him, you should find someone else. You do not have to threaten with a restraining order to, go on dates with and or fuck. You don't have to try to pretend you want to romantically be involved with me. But then, no. We both tried to separate from each other, but have we succeeded? No. I'm hoping that I will succeed this time. And I guess I thought of a one-liner, but it's slipping my brain because I'm a little dehydrated. But I'll put it this way. My ex-boyfriend is trying to impress me again. He's trying. He's peroxiding his, okay. Not really. 1 second. He's trying in the sense of he brushes his teeth more often. And if I show up and his teeth still don't smell good, he'll ask me for some of my peroxide so that he could do a little mouth rinse. He's doing better with his hygiene. He's doing better with making sure he gets enough sleep so that he can show up on time for dates. He's getting better at planning dates and trying to initiate plans instead of relying on me to be the one to beg for something to happen. But I feel like the fundamental reasons for why he left haven't changed. He's still not good at communicating. He's the type of guy to be like, oh, hey, baby, do you want to do this instead of that? Oh, you sure you don't want to do this? I think we should do this. I think this would be really good to do instead of that. Yeah, let's do this. He'll say that. He'll do all that fucking song and dance instead of just saying, oh, I would like to do this. Is this okay? And that would have solved the problem. He still hasn't worked past his, self-esteem issues, confidence issues, passive-aggressive way of communication. He's still very timid and very sensitive to feedback. And also he's not very interesting. We went out for food today, and the entire time there was just nothing I could think of to talk to him about, because I thought I already know what he's going to say. And he's not going to say anything that will interest me or wow me or anything. I can tell he loves me. And I really do care for him. He's one of my favorite fucking people in the world. But at the root of it, I don't know. Love without interest isn't love. At best, it's a like. I like Morgan because he's sexy and fascinating. He has wit, he has banter, he has charm, he has an interesting life of fun life stories and insane shit that he's done. And he has a personality that I want to get to know more and more every time I see him. He has what I like. My ex used to have what I like, but I guess what I liked changed once I realized, my standards will never just be one sole thing. They will always evolve over time the more that my needs and lifestyle evolves too. Morgan is what I want on a physical level, but not on an emotional level. So it's like, okay, he can fuck the shit out of me. He knows how to kiss me in the way I like. He knows how to bite my ear and moan into it. He knows incredible sex positions. Very, very impressive. But he's never gonna take me out on a date. He will cancel that shit or not even have the nerve to tell me that he's gonna cancel. He'll just simply block me. He's never actually gonna, he'll say he wants to date me and he'll actually ask to date me before he'll ever actually consider a date with me. I already know that it's just like a placeholder thing with him. And that it will never be anything romantic. So it's like, I would like someone who evokes this much like charm and excitement and passion and spark in me, except the spark is real, not artificial. With Morgan, every time I'm with him, I'm like, I want someone who takes me out on nice dates, who I can have over in my apartment and like bake with and do things with and go to like nice scenic places with and museums and do cool shit. And I wish Morgan did this shit for me. And then I'll see my ex, and then I'll do that with my ex, and I'll be like, I wish I was here with someone instead who had a lot more to say, who had things to bond with me over, who had an interesting life or interesting things that they looked forward to in their life, interesting friend groups, just something interesting. So I know at root that neither of them really are for me. I want someone who has the best qualities of both of them. I don't want just some like sexy fuckboy with nice hair and a nice smile who's going to keep ruining my self-esteem and trying to convince me that I'm not worth a date. Cause no offense, I already know that I am. And if you're wondering why haven't you moved on to someone else yet? Oh, I've tried, trust me. And I'm actively trying because I'm not just gonna settle for this nigga. And as for my ex, I still very much care for them. I do. They're a sweetheart. They are blessed and they are angelic. But I also very much recognize that deep down, I left for a reason. If the problems could be resolved as simply as, oh, a little bit more teeth brushing and some more dates, like, I would be back with him by now. But it's not. It's not. Why? Because it turns out my personality has just outgrown his. He was perfect for me back a year and a half ago when Morgan destroyed me mentally. He was there to actually just be the nice guy. Back when I was like, I do not want to deal with fuckboys any longer. I just want a sweet guy. They don't even have to be much. They could just be sweet to me, and I'll be sweet to them. I'll do anything for them. All they have to do is just go with me to nice places and be a gentleman and be sweet. And that's what my ex was. And I really, really liked that. And I still really like him. I just recognize that he's no longer going to check boxes that I currently have. But yeah, I had this epiphany like a week or two ago, sometime earlier this month. Like I think it was actually exactly on March 1st. And both of them saw and both of them knew. But what happened is they both just decided I'm going to try harder. So then my aunt ramped it up to, oh, I know this nice expensive restaurant I can take you. I know a really nice place, I'll plan more dates, I'll do more for you. And that's sweet. But it's also just showing that he's wrong with me because he entirely missed that point. Is that as much as I adore him, dates aren't just going to resolve things. And that the way we click is still very much hit or miss. Aside from that, with the Morgan guy, he's deciding, okay, I'll talk to her a little bit more. We could do phone calls to bond. Like, I think she's gonna be okay with, like, if I do a phone call, like, a couple times a week, she's gonna be fine with that. We could work on, like, I could work on texting her a little bit more. But it's still like, no, inherently, that's not what I want. I don't want to be with anybody who I have to think I am on a date with them and this is the most boring shit ever and we have nothing in common. And I also don't want to be with anyone who's like, God, they haven't replied to me in how fucking long, and I'm sending them memes and trying to initiate conversation, and they're just not doing shit. I do not like being with people who make me feel uninteresting, or I feel uninterested by. Like, if I try my best to, like, start the spark, or show energy, and I'm just not getting any of that back, and then it's like, okay, so I'm just really the one pouring all the love into this. I'm the one making it fun. Because I'm making the jokes, I'm telling the stories, and then you're just, like, the person sitting back and enjoying the ride. I'm the person sending the memes and just like adding the interesting elements, and you're just some guy who's gonna still not reply to the text or even do so much as like a fucking meme. So yeah, I'm just realizing that truly I do like myself. I went out today and I was like, I could have came by myself. I'm happy that I came with someone to share the food with, yes, but it should definitely not be in a date-like scenario. Like, maybe I should work on just being like, this is entirely a platonic bond and only show up if you want to be platonic. Or I should just work on, I don't know, finding more friends who have an open schedule and things in common with me. Yeah, that too. And yeah. And also, even last night, I won't go into too much detail, but let's just say I can easily just fantasize about Morgan and masturbate like that. And don't need to fuck him. I don't. Like, and he keeps trying to pull the whole, oh, I'm not just some slut who needs to be treated like a piece of meat, but then he actively puts himself in that role. So really, I don't have a reason to keep actively trying with him either. I'll just hit him up when I want sex and ignore him whenever he tries the other shit, because it's like, what's the point of him trying the other shit if he's not gonna actually be that guy? You can't pretend that you're some sort of like loving romantic Lothario when in reality you're just some dude who wants pussy and likes to sweet talk and charm for your own self-esteem boost. So no, he can't keep playing me. He's just, I'm glad we didn't make plans to meet anytime soon for actual sex. And I'm glad my period came right at the moment where I considered this week. Because I think I just need to not be with him for quite some time. I don't need to be with either man. I just need to be myself. Alright. I'm feeling better. I just don't need to be with either. I want to focus on really nice things like my succulents and crossbreeding my nice plants that I got. Ironically, to try to get over these men. I said, why nurture a man when I can nurture a plant and find it like 10 times more fascinating than either of them will probably be. And you're right, if you saw the videos of me screaming in excitement when I had my plants propagate, I was so fucking ecstatic, dude. I don't know. I want to focus on painting sunsets and exploring new areas and just flourishing and enjoying parts that I know I could never be vulnerable about with either of them with, and just working on myself. That's all. And yeah, I'm just gonna not talk to Morgan for as long as I can. I deleted our messages and let's just see how long it goes until he messages me back. Or actually, no. Let me scratch that. Let's see how long it is that I can go not giving a shit. And that's probably gonna be quite a while. I'm gonna be too busy actually having fun painting and drawing and making videos and working on my content and just feeling 10 times sexier just being me and being that. And that'll be lovely. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye. Have yourself a nice day. Peace out.